Fasochi Actual says, Joel, with the information you know now, if you had to start over, would you do anything different?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my word. So how far back we go? Let's keep this limited to info. Yes, there's a number of things. So what I would
wouldn't have worked on Hemlock ever.
Wouldn't have moved to Silicon Valley.
I wouldn't have sold my company to VMware.
Oh, shots fired, Jeff. Shots fired.
It's love. It's love. I think
yeah, exactly. So is Hemlock, by the way.
So, yes, I'll answer that question. But let me first not answer the question. What I would do again every single time is always be the garbage man. Every job I took, I looked for the worst stinky responsibility in that org. And everybody does the opposite.
Well, no, did you just say the CISO is like the stinkiest job in an org?
I think you did. Hey, Neil, for you, it's threat and vulnerability management.
Sorry, go carry on.
So there I was, king of the pigsty. And so everybody wants to be in Red Team because it's cool and we can watch you in movies.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do GRC.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do third-party vendor management.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to write policies. I did those. I sought those out for two reasons. One, nobody expects anything great out of you. Two,
you can always overachieve.
I want everybody to hear that, right? The bar is low.
Yeah, that is outstanding.
Right? So if I'm going to do the 440, I'm going to do it with kindergartners.
Did you see? I was like way ahead of them. they couldn't hold their own.
I wrote the best damn
destroyed
policy.
them. I really destroyed them. It was great. Yeah. You should have seen it.
I'm willing to charge the mound at the Little League games.
Oh, laugh it up, Neil. I've seen you.
Oh, no. Jeff goes on mute.
Yeah, exactly. Again.
Yeah.
So the second reason to always be the garbage man is no one takes your credit. And so you learn how to give credit to others and you don't get distracted by the politics. And as you build that grassroots support, man, everything Neil does, even though the work sucks, he's amazing. And he's giving credit to others. That's the person that you want to give more responsibility to. The person that you're very careful of is the Iago. From right, you want to be careful of the person that wants to find the most prominent position and steal glory from other people. That person's got to go. So those are the two things that I would have done again,
and not do much of the work. Right, it's always tied to those same people.
Those tend to go together. You're right, Jeff. What I would do different? Too often I was the smartest guy in the room. I think quick, but I speak faster, and my mouth would get me into trouble. I would look at things that were obviously wrong, and I would say so. And it's for the good of the company, right? We can all see this, right?
Right.
Let's fix this. And I didn't understand that companies don't exist to solve problems. Bureaucracies don't exist to solve problems. There's this complex beehive of relationships. And so there I was kicking over people's beehives saying, well, that's stupid and that's ridiculous and you should know better and you should work harder. And that slowed my career and hurt my relationships with people.
I want to pick on that before Carmen pushes to the next question. Sitting at the CISO, sitting at those chief security roles and things that you sat at, can you elaborate on that? Why are security people so focused on, we must solve every vulnerability? I don't want Indie Windows NT or Windows XP in my environment. No, you can't have password 123. Dear God, why don't we have MFA enabled? What is that conversation like in trying to balance being the smartest guy in the room and knowing that what you're saying is for the right of the company versus actually getting the mission accomplished because you're not stomping all over executive leadership?
Yeah, that is the most difficult thing. More CISOs burn out because they're not listening to me and this thing's going down than any other executive and for any other reason. That is an enormous problem. It's my opinion. And so I'll describe what I see, and I'm not attempting to justify what I see. I'm describing what I see. Every CISO is intensely engaged in personal risk management. If the company for which I'm the CISO gets popped in a way that hits the Wall Street Journal, not only will I lose my job, I'll never get another one. Like that's in the back of all of our heads. So we all act like the guy from Grapes of Wrath, and we kill our bunny. We got to control it, and we got to pet it, and it's got to be okay. And so as a consequence, we run into the head of cloud, or we run into the head of DevOps, and he or she says, well, no, it's just the way we've always done it. And you're like, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly the problem. You don't understand. Now let me set you straight. How many times in life has somebody setting you straight set you straight?
Yeah.
So that is why we react this way, because we know that we're right. But somebody gave me a great piece of wisdom. Neil, you and I talked about having things in little packets.
Yeah.
This little packet of wisdom was this. Joel, do you want to win or do you want to be right? Because you're not going to be both.
So say that again, real slow.
Do you want to win or do you want to be right?
Why can't you be both as a CISO in a company?
Well, that is why I started my own company.
I have no idea, so I just left.
I showed those guys.
Wait, I know the solution to this.
So the solution has been, why are things the way they are? What have you done that has got us to this point? What are the current priorities? What are the investments? What else matters besides the things Joel knows are right? That when I talked earlier about going into a conversation and only asking questions, when I am my most frustrated and I know I'm walking into the room with somebody who's going to be entirely objectional and doesn't want to hear me, I will only ask them questions.
Your closest friends know when you're really, really pissed at them because you only ask questions.
And I also don't use contractions. That's the other indication that I'm angry.
So I have a question. Someone comes to you and says that they're having a difficult time trying to figure out if they're even one of those kinds of people. What are some things you would say, if you see this or that, you're definitely struggling with this. And I think your solution for just asking questions is brilliant. I think people will struggle with implementing that the right way. Because, in sales, we're trained to go into open-ended questions.
Yes.
And then listen, and then repeat back, and then ask a follow-up, secondary, tertiary level question based on what you learned, right? Active listening, open-ended questions.
Yes.
And the reality is, then you get to find out what they're really saying, what their real underlying opinion is. But how do you get people to recognize that they have that problem of being the smartest person in the room?
That's awesome. That's awesome. The other thing I bet that you're trained to do is have a goal for every meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't.
I'm going to go in. When you say we, CISOs don't.
CISOs don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in. I'm going to tell that CTO that what they're doing is better stop.
I like how you're like, you got the finger going.
Exactly. It's like we're all diva on you.
I'm going to tell that CTO what he's going to do.
So you're right.
My daughter could do a diva pose. I can't even do it, but she's got a wicked diva pose,
right? She might be a. So how do you tell? So, Joel, how would you know that you have this problem? Let's grab one of those old mentors, Socrates. We all know the expression Socratic questioning. And we think what it means is asking tricky questions to make the other person go, oh, I am an idiot, right? That isn't what it is. The principle began with, in order to debate someone, you have to be able to articulate their argument better than they can. So my question then would be, are you that kind of a person? Well, who's your conflict with? Well, it's with legal. Can you articulate legal's position better than they can? Well, it's stupid. I mean, they don't understand.
Said every cybersecurity person ever.
Right? Here's your sign. So that's how you tell. So when I go into that conflict, if I know your argument better than you, I'm not looking to quash you and say, I bet you're going to say, and I bet next you're going to say, I'm going to agree with you. And I'm going to add to your argument. I'm going to agree and amplify. And then we can both look at this problem from your perspective. And now you know that I am in your shoes. And then you're going to ask me, how come you don't agree with me if you understand it this well? Then I get to say, well, I got these concerns over here. Can you look at them? And now we're moving.
How would you solve them? Yeah.
So I think that ties in good to the question that's up here with reckless prod, right? Which is, again, back to this dealing with other people, right? Is there no argument that this would require better people negotiating and influencing skills to convey the gravity of those situations?
So reckless, Mr. and Ms. Prod, you have, forgive me for this, you are begging the question, the situation has gravity that has a shared understanding.
Everybody understands the definition of your gravity.
Yeah. And that might not be true. Now, one of the companies I worked at, my red team discovered a remote shell exploit in one of our products. And nobody would listen to the red team.
Wow.
So what does that mean? Does it mean they don't understand what an exploit, remote, or shell mean? Does it mean they don't understand the implications of that problem? Does it mean that the document doesn't convey the emotional impact that it ought to? I don't know. So how do I start work? Well, I wonder if I can get them in my red team shoes. So I grabbed the tech leaders and I brought them to the red team shoes. And I said, okay, you can see here, we're going out through a VPN, so non-corporate network. And you can see here where and now watch as we do this. So now watch as we move laterally to another customer. And then they go, how long have you known this? Well, the emails are timestamped. So,
but I think, but you're conveying the problem though, right? Which is that people don't understand the language we use until we show them their picture on the face of a conference room camera when we hacked into it, because it's password is password.
Yes. Yes. And Jeff talked earlier, he didn't use this expression. My expression for what Jeff was describing is skin in the game, where you get the mentor to have skin in the game. Well, the problem with CISOs is risk is outsourced to us naturally. I can't count the number of people at all of the places I've worked. I've worked a lot of places. I can't hold a job. At all of the places that I've worked, who have said, oh, thank God you're here. It's really nice to have a CISO that can take care of security. And I think, okay, we're going to have lunch and we got to fix that.
we got to start with that conversation first and your definition of fixing security.
Right, exactly.
They're outsourcing it.
Right.
Thank God I have an Italian neighbor. I just bought a Fiat. Well, hey, hold on.
Would you, before I ask this question, just pop on screen, then I think that's a great analogy, right? People are used to outsourcing the risk to the CISO org, but then you bring cyber insurance into the game, and now they're diversifying their risk portfolio between the security organization and cyber insurance?
Yeah, awesome topic. So way too nerdy. You tell me if we go too nerdy.
No.
The problem that we've got in cybersecurity writ large is we don't have an actuarial table of risk.
Yeah.
We don't know the dollar increment or decrement to risk with the implementation of a particular tool in a particular way, or how many hops away from the CEO is the CISO, or is security part of IT?
Let's break that down, right? We don't know that if we put in Splunk, we're going to decrease our risk or likelihood of an attack by 10%, and therefore it allows us to monetize the risk reduction of tool investment.
Well, and there's no common language for how to quantify it either.
That's right. That's right.
Like, oh, it's going to be a lot better.
And it'll only be a lot better if you use my competitor. So So when you go to buy car insurance, you're making a bet. You're betting that your premium will be less than the damage you cause. And insurance companies make a ton of money because they're better at making those bets than you are.
Right.
You flip that around for a CISO. So what should the budget be next year? Well, based on my charisma, my ability to make a good PowerPoint, right, because I don't have anything better. And that bothers me a lot. So that, I think, is the first problem that we face here.
Yeah. For up-to-the-minute cybersecurity news, make sure you follow and subscribe to the Cyber and Security channel on Twitch and YouTube. Also, make sure you turn on those notifications so that you know when we go live.